So, in this session, I'll be talking about a book which I've read and which I've learnt a lot. So, as I mentioned, before starting anything, you need to have a clear understanding about the problem, how big is the problem, what idea you have, how to even measure this idea is big or small. There are certain methods to it. And till date, I'm not able to understand this is because it's very intangible thing. We don't know how to put a metrics to my idea. Is my idea good or bad? How do you validate? How do you understand if this is problem is really a big problem, right? Because every time when we plan something, we need to understand, is this a long-term strategy, long-term plan, short-term plan, right? Now in the problem also, how big is the problem, right? Like maybe you're thinking this is a big problem and you're trying to solve it, putting all your energy and effort, and only to realize that okay, this is a very small problem and it's only addressable to certain segment or a small number of people or a business, right? So in order to get rid of these problems, you need to also have a metrics to understand how big is this problem, right? So this book, Design Your Thinking, authored by Pawan Soni, Mr. Dr. Pawan Soni, is very well written, and especially to the classic need of Indian market, right? These examples are all related to Indian market because as I mentioned, we cannot always refer to Silicon Valley, etc. Right? But here, Mr. Pawan Soni has taken a lot of efforts and use cases because he is already an advisor and consultant for many design thinking, products, solutions, and he has also made a very good, information. He captured very good information into the book about how to measure the idea, how to measure the problem, how to even take this problem and methodologically approach it, right? That's the beauty of this book, which I really liked, and I strongly recommend anyone who has an idea, who is a starter, just read this book. It helps you a lot, and the reason I am recommending more is this gives a lot of Indian examples, right? The way Indian customers are, way they think, how you have to analyze these requirements and problems. It really helps. For example, there's a kind of I would say there's a lot of good pointers, like if you see this, the first 10, it's very clearly mentioned, how to scale, how to understand the problem, how to even do a research, right? So it is very comprehensive and gives a lot of good pointers for you to design your idea or understand the problem and further do a research on that problem, right? Because that's the key thing, because even before you're starting, if you cannot take these learnings, then you might end up in a wrong place, right? So these kind of books are very useful, and I strongly recommend you all to take this, read this book, and it helps immensely, and it has helped me a lot. It gives me a lot of information, pointers that I should always consider, and I keep revising this book back and forth, right? Because it helps me in every day, because it's a well written book. So try to read this kind of books, because reading is most important for founders, and unless you don't understand, you just go by media. I don't really recommend that. See, information is out there, right? You have massive amount of information. It's what we call it as information overflow, right? You cannot digest so much information, but there is a method, there is an approach to understand this information and then process it rightly, right? And this kind of books are one of those which can help you plan it well. Maybe you will get some 100 ideas, right? Of course, because that's where entrepreneurs are always good. They keep generating ideas after ideas, or start identifying problems after problems and try to see, okay, can I solve this? But when you have this gap between a problem and can I solve, is where this kind of books helps, right? If this is really a problem, if this is not a problem, then is it just a feature in your product, or itself is a big problem and you can launch your company, right? So I would talk about each books in my next videos, but this one is for before starting your business or pondering on a particular idea or a problem, use this book. This can be a very good pointer for you to understand. Thank you.